Could Princess Beatrice's world really be crumbling in front of our eyes? Could the poised, polished royal we've always admired be hiding a storm so powerful that it could shake the monarchy to its core? Imagine watching someone you've always seen as calm and composed suddenly break down, tears streaming down her face, as she reveals a truth no one expected. That's exactly what happened when Princess Beatrice made a shocking announcement that left her family, the media, and the world speechless. And the worst part? It involves her father, Prince Andrew, and someone no one would have guessed, Meghan Markle. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Beatrice has always been seen as the dutiful, loyal daughter. She attends royal events with a smile, supports charitable causes, and embodies the image of elegance under pressure. But behind the carefully curated public image, tension has been simmering for years. Families are complicated, we all know that, but some secrets are bigger than others. And the secret that Princess Beatrice decided to reveal is massive, not just a family squabble or minor scandal, but something that could rewrite what we thought we knew about the royal family, the relationships within it, and even Meghan Markle's own story. What led to this breaking point? According to sources close to the palace, Beatrice had been carrying a heavy burden for years, one that gnawed at her every time she attended public events, saw her father under scrutiny, or heard the endless speculation about Meghan. She felt trapped between loyalty to her father and her moral obligation to speak the truth. Imagine living under constant pressure, knowing that at any moment, your words could send shockwaves through the media, the monarchy, and your own family. The weight of that responsibility can crush anyone, and for Beatrice, it finally reached a tipping point. And then the world got a glimpse. The announcement wasn't just a simple statement or passing comment. It was raw, emotional, and unprecedented. She didn't just hint at family drama. She pulled back the curtain on a story so explosive that even seasoned royal watchers couldn't believe it. And while the media scrambled, the palace quietly braced for fallout. The allegations she was about to share didn't just touch on personal relationships. They struck at the heart of the monarchy's image, its alliances, and its most guarded secrets. What's particularly shocking is the connection she revealed. Her father, a figure already embroiled in past controversies, allegedly had interactions that no one could have anticipated with Meghan Markle. The implications are enormous, and the questions are endless. Could these claims be true? Was it a brief indiscretion or something far more complex? How does this change our perception of the royals we've watched for decades? And why did Beatrice choose this moment to speak out? Now, in 2026, Beatrice's tears weren't just about sadness. They were about truth, justice, and perhaps even a sense of betrayal she had carried silently for years. Her emotional state alone signaled to the world that what she was about to reveal mattered deeply. And as viewers, we are left with a powerful question. How deep does this scandal go? And who will emerge unscathed when the story finally unfolds? But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. Could anyone have predicted that a quiet evening at a private dinner would become the tipping point for Princess Beatrice? It's strange, isn't it? How one seemingly ordinary moment can unravel years of secrecy. That night, she sat across from someone she had trusted, the kind of person who had always been a confidant in the chaos of royal life. And yet, Beatrice felt the weight of all those years pressing down on her. The pressure wasn't just about family reputation. It was about truth, integrity, and a fear that silence was becoming complicity. For Beatrice, living in the shadow of her father's controversies has never been easy. Prince Andrew's past scandals have loomed over the family like a storm cloud, making every public appearance a careful balancing act. But now, there was something more, a deeper, more personal burden. Something she couldn't ignore any longer. Imagine carrying a secret so heavy that every smile in public feels like a lie, every public gesture a mask. That was her reality. And as she sat there, emotions bubbling beneath the surface, she realized she could no longer stay silent. But what triggered her breaking point? Was it a new piece of information? A leaked message? Or perhaps seeing how Meghan Markle's life and public image intertwined with her father in ways no one had anticipated? Sources close to the palace suggest that Beatrice had been grappling with fragments of information for years, small hints, whispered rumors, glimpses of interactions that didn't make sense at the time. And in that moment, those fragments clicked into a picture she couldn't unsee. The inner conflict was intense. On one side, loyalty to family, a desire to protect her father, to uphold the image of the monarchy she had been raised to respect. On the other side, a moral obligation to speak the truth, even if it meant exposing the darkest corners of her family's private life. It's a dilemma most of us will never face, but it's easy to imagine the crushing weight. If you were in her shoes, would you have stayed silent? Or risked it all for the sake of honesty? And then came the moment of revelation. Beatrice, usually so composed, began to speak, her voice trembling, tears threatening to fall. She didn't just hint at scandal. She set the stage for something explosive, connecting the dots between her father and Meghan Markle in a way that stunned everyone present. Those listening could hardly believe what they were hearing. The atmosphere was electric, tense, heavy with disbelief. Every word was calculated, yet raw with emotion. But what happened next went beyond even the most shocking expectations. The revelation she was about to make next didn't just implicate private interactions. It had the power to redefine public perception of two of the most scrutinized figures in the monarchy. And for Princess Beatrice, the personal cost was immense. Her decision would ripple across family gatherings, media headlines, and royal circles in ways that no one could have predicted. What she revealed next would leave jaws dropped, hearts racing, and the royal family scrambling for answers. And yet, she delivered it with a mix of courage and trembling vulnerability that no one could ignore. But what came next would change everything. And it wasn't just the public who would be shocked. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, or perhaps dreading. Could it really be true? Could the unthinkable connection between Prince Andrew and Meghan Markle really exist? The room was silent as Princess Beatrice took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly, her voice barely steady. "There are things I've known for years, things I should have said sooner," she began, and in that instant, the weight of the secret became palpable. It wasn't just a family revelation. It was a story with the power to rock the monarchy to its very foundation. Sources reveal that what Beatrice hinted at went beyond casual meetings or fleeting encounters. She described patterns of communication, encounters that, while discreet, were frequent enough to raise questions. Meetings scheduled in private, messages exchanged in secrecy, and encounters carefully orchestrated away from prying eyes. The implications were staggering. Could someone like Meghan, already a lightning rod for media attention, really have been involved in this? And if so, what did that mean for the perception of Prince Andrew, a man whose own reputation had long been under scrutiny? The emotional tension was almost unbearable. Beatrice's tears weren't just for herself. They were for the enormity of what she was about to expose, and for the impossible decision she had made to speak out. Think about it. Speaking the truth could alienate family members, invite ridicule, and make headlines across the world. But staying silent meant carrying a burden that could haunt her for life. Every detail she revealed felt like stepping closer to a precipice, where one wrong word could ignite a firestorm. And the reactions were immediate. Those in the room reportedly froze, unable to process what they were hearing. The whispers started almost instantly: shocked disbelief, incredulous laughter, and even anger. Could this really be happening? Was Beatrice telling the truth, or had years of speculation and rumor finally pushed her to exaggerate? Her voice wavered, but her determination was clear. This was her story, and she was finally claiming it. Audiences around the world would be left with the same burning questions. How far did this connection go? Was it a brief indiscretion, or something deeper, something that reshaped relationships within the royal family? And perhaps most importantly, why did Beatrice feel compelled to reveal it now, after years of silence? These questions hung in the air like storm clouds, threatening to burst at any moment. But the most shocking twist was yet to come. Beatrice didn't just hint at an affair or secret meetings. She alluded to a series of events that even Meghan Markle's closest confidants reportedly didn't know about. Meetings, late-night messages, and exchanges that tied her father and Meghan together in ways that could, if confirmed, completely rewrite the public's understanding of both of them. And in that moment, the world realized the scale of the story wasn't just scandalous, it was historic. What came next would force every member of the royal family to confront an uncomfortable truth, challenge long-held loyalties, and ignite a media frenzy that could not be contained. But the fallout wasn't just public. It would cut deep into personal relationships, revealing betrayals, alliances, and secrets that had been buried for decades. And yet, Princess Beatrice remained steadfast, bracing for the storm that she knew was about to hit. The next revelation would shock even the most seasoned royal observers, because what she hinted at wasn't just about a connection, it was about consequences. And the consequences, she warned, would be devastating for everyone involved. The moment the revelation went public, the palace was thrown into chaos. It wasn't just another tabloid story or fleeting rumor. This was Princess Beatrice, tearful and resolute, connecting dots that no one outside the family had ever seen before. The implications were immediate. Courtiers whispered nervously, advisors scrambled, and palace staff prepared for a media storm that would eclipse anything in recent memory. The monarchy, often viewed as untouchable, suddenly seemed fragile, vulnerable to the revelations of one courageous and emotionally drained princess. The public reaction was instant and intense. Social media exploded with speculation, outrage, and disbelief. Headlines screamed questions. Did Prince Andrew really have a secret connection with Meghan Markle? And Princess Beatrice breaks her silence. What did she know? Fans and critics alike tried to piece together the puzzle, but the details were sparse, teasing just enough to ignite imagination. Could there be any truth to this explosive claim, or was it yet another misunderstanding amplified by centuries of royal intrigue? Inside the palace, the fallout was deeply personal. Reports suggest that Prince Andrew retreated into private quarters, avoiding questions and meetings as the weight of public scrutiny bore down on him. Meghan Markle, who had already been under the media microscope for years, faced a renewed wave of speculation and judgment. Friends close to her were reportedly baffled by the implications, unsure whether this revelation was accurate or merely misinterpreted. And Beatrice? She was left to navigate the eye of the storm she had unleashed, balancing her role as a loyal daughter with the burden of truth she now carried in the public domain. But the most shocking aspect wasn't just the public scandal. It was the betrayal that rippled through the family. Beatrice's tearful disclosure wasn't simply about exposing an affair. It was about revealing hidden alliances, secret communications, and the uncomfortable reality that loyalty and trust within the royal family were far more fragile than anyone realized. Imagine the tension in family gatherings, the awkward silences, the whispered confrontations behind closed doors. Beatrice had opened a door that could never be closed again, and the media frenzy only intensified. Every interaction, every statement, every denied or confirmed rumor became fuel for an endless cycle of speculation. Experts debated motives, timelines, and credibility. Psychologists analyzed Beatrice's demeanor, historians weighed in on precedent, and gossip columns churned headlines faster than the palace could respond. Meanwhile, the public was left asking, what does this mean for the monarchy? For Meghan Markle? For Prince Andrew? Could the monarchy survive a scandal of this magnitude? The consequences weren't just professional or public, they were deeply personal. Friends and confidants reportedly felt torn, unsure where to stand, who to trust, and how to respond. The palace was forced to confront uncomfortable truths about family loyalty, secrecy, and the consequences of silence. And through it all, Princess Beatrice stood firm, her emotions raw, her voice steady, signaling that this was not a moment to retreat. But just when everyone thought the story had reached its peak, Beatrice dropped a bombshell detail that no one could have predicted, an element so shocking it threatened to reshape public understanding of not just one scandal, but the very relationships at the heart of the royal family. And in that moment, it became clear. The fallout had only just begun, and the most explosive revelations were still to come. And so we arrive at the final chapter of this shocking saga, the emotional payoff that Princess Beatrice's brave revelation has brought into the light. The tears, the trembling voice, the long-suppressed truths, all of it culminates here. For months, she carried a burden heavier than most of us could imagine, knowing that every word she spoke could shift public perception, damage family relationships, and change the course of the monarchy. And now, the world has heard her story, raw and unfiltered. The fallout has been dramatic, yes, but it has also revealed something deeper about Princess Beatrice. Beyond the scandal, beyond the headlines, what emerges is a portrait of courage. Here is a woman facing impossible choices: to remain silent and preserve appearances, or to speak the truth and risk everything. How often do we confront the choice between comfort and integrity? Beatrice's tears weren't just sorrow. They were a symbol of that struggle, a reminder that even royals are human, subject to fear, love, loyalty, and heartbreak. For Prince Andrew, the consequences are profound. Once shielded by privilege and tradition, he now faces the harsh glare of scrutiny in a way that cannot be undone. Meghan Markle, too, is drawn back into the story, whether she wants to be or not, and the tangled web of speculation has left both her allies and critics scrambling for clarity. The monarchy itself must navigate the treacherous waters of public opinion, loyalty, and reputation, while a single confession from a daughter has exposed vulnerabilities that were once hidden behind palace walls. And what about the public? We've been pulled into this story not just as spectators, but as participants in the unfolding drama. Every rumor, every leaked message, every whispered possibility has invited us to question what we thought we knew about the royals. How much of history, we wonder, is shaped by secrets? And how much courage does it take to reveal them? Beatrice's story challenges us to reflect not only on her family, but on the price of truth, the fragility of trust, and the strength required to confront uncomfortable realities. In the end, Princess Beatrice's tears, her confession, and her unwavering decision to speak out leave us with a mix of shock, empathy, and awe. She reminds us that behind every headline, every royal engagement, every public smile, there is a human being grappling with fear, duty, and love. And while the media will debate motives and the public will speculate endlessly, one fact remains undeniable: the truth has been spoken, and its impact will resonate far beyond the palace gates. So what can we take away from all this? Courage isn't always loud. It can be tearful, hesitant, and deeply personal. Truth can be painful, but it is also liberating. And sometimes, the smallest voice, the voice of a single daughter, can shake an entire institution to its core. What would you do if faced with such a choice? Stay silent, or risk everything to be heard? The story isn't over. The ripple effects of Princess Beatrice's revelation will continue to unfold, and we will all be watching. But for now, we witness a moment of honesty, a crack in the perfect facade, and the courage it takes to speak the unspoken. The question remains: how far will the fallout reach? And who will be able to withstand it when it does?